Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back. This is Sunita, and today's story is The Day She Stopped Waiting for Motivation. You know, one of the biggest lies people quietly believe is this: once I feel motivated, I'll change my life. And honestly, so many dreams remain unfinished because of this one thought. People wait to feel confident before starting, wait to feel energetic before exercising, wait to feel ready before speaking English, wait to feel inspired before becoming disciplined. But the truth, most people who change their lives are not constantly motivated. They are just tired of staying stuck. And today's story is about someone who slowly understood this. Her name was Aditi. Now, from the outside, Aditi looked perfectly normal, a regular working woman, nothing dramatic about her life. She worked in an office from 9 to 6, traveled through traffic every day, came home tired, ate dinner while scrolling on her phone, slept late, repeated everything again. And honestly, for a long time, she thought this was just adulthood. Wake up tired, stay busy, postpone dreams, repeat. But somewhere deep inside, she constantly carried one uncomfortable feeling. She knew she was wasting her potential. Now, listen carefully. This is different from laziness. Lazy people usually don't care much, but Aditi cared a lot. That's why it hurt. Because every few days she became inspired again. She watched motivational videos, saved productivity reels, made beautiful plans in notebooks. From Monday, I'll wake up early. From tomorrow, I'll practice English daily. I'll start reading. I'll become disciplined. And honestly, every time she made those plans, she genuinely believed herself. That's the sad part sometimes. People don't intentionally lie to themselves, they truly want to change. But wanting change and building change are very different things. The next morning usually look the same. Alarm rings, snooze, 5 more minutes, then 20, then suddenly panic. Now she's rushing again. No exercise, no reading, no peaceful morning, only hurry. Then comes office, mental exhaustion, traffic, scrolling, guilt. And slowly, her confidence in herself started breaking quietly. Because every time you break promises to yourself, your mind notices. You start trusting yourself less. One evening after work, Aditi came home completely drained. Not physically, mentally. You know those evenings where even small tasks feel heavy. Changing clothes feels tiring. Replying to messages feels exhausting. Even deciding what to eat feels like effort. That kind of evening. Rain was falling outside softly. Her room looked messy. Half read books on the table, workout shoes covered in dust near the corner, sticky notes filled with goals written weeks ago, and suddenly she felt emotional. Not dramatic crying, just quiet disappointment. Because deep down, she knew exactly what the problem was. It wasn't lack of information. She already knew what to do. Everybody knows basic things that improve life, right? Sleep properly, exercise, read, practice consistently. The problem was this: she only took action when she felt motivated. And motivation is unpredictable. Some days you feel powerful, inspired, ready to change your entire life. Other days, even brushing your hair feels difficult. That night, while scrolling endlessly again, she came across a podcast clip, and one line immediately caught her attention. Your life is mostly controlled by what you do on ordinary days, not inspired days. Aditi paused the video, and honestly, something about that sentence hit her deeply because suddenly she realized all her plans depended on emotion. If she felt inspired, she worked hard. If she felt low, everything stopped, which meant her progress depended completely on mood, and moods change constantly. That night, she lay awake thinking for a long time. Then she asked herself one uncomfortable question: What if motivation never comes the way I am waiting for? The next morning, nothing magical happened. No dramatic transformation, no sudden burst of energy. She still felt sleepy, still wanted to stay in bed, still didn't feel motivated. But this time, instead of waiting for a feeling, she tried something different. She made one tiny rule, just 10 minutes, not 1 hour, not some unrealistic routine, just 10 minutes of effort daily. 10 minutes of reading English, 10 minutes of speaking practice, 10 minutes of movement. That's all. And honestly, part of her brain immediately mocked the idea. What difference will 10 minutes make? But another part quietly answered, more difference than zero. And maybe that's how real change begins quietly, without excitement, without dramatic music. The first few days felt strange. She still got distracted, still felt lazy, still wanted to quit. Some mornings she practiced while half sleepy. Some evenings she read only because she promised herself, not because she enjoyed it immediately. And honestly, this is the part nobody talks about enough. Consistency is boring sometimes. People love the idea of transformation, but daily repetition, that part feels ordinary. Still, Aditi continued, not perfectly, just consistently enough. After 2 weeks, something small changed. She started feeling slightly more in control of herself. Not confident yet, but less helpless. Earlier, her days happened to her automatically. Now she was making at least a few intentional choices daily. Slowly, 10 minutes became 20, 20 became 30. She started waking earlier natural. Her English improved gradually. She began reading regularly. Even her mind felt lighter somehow. And honestly, the biggest surprise wasn't external improvement, it was internal trust returning slowly. Because confidence is not built only by success. Confidence is built when you repeatedly prove to yourself, I can rely on myself. One evening, her colleague casually said, You seem different these days. Aditi laughed softly. Different? How? More confident, more calm. And honestly, that moment felt emotional unexpectedly. Because people only saw the result, not the invisible effort behind it. The mornings, she forced herself to get up. The evenings, she practiced despite exhaustion. The days, she failed but restarted instead of quitting completely. That's what changed her life. Not motivation, consistency. And maybe many people listening right now need to hear this. You do not need to become a completely new person overnight. You do not need perfect discipline immediately. You don't need constant motivation. You just need to stop disappearing after difficult days. Because life changes quietly through small, repeated actions. Reading 10 pages daily, practicing speaking consistently, walking every evening, showing up even when your mood says no. And one day you suddenly realize you have become the person you kept dreaming about slowly. So tell me honestly, my dear listeners, what's one thing you keep postponing while waiting for motivation? Do you also start strong and then lose consistency? And what tiny habit could genuinely improve your life if you stayed consistent for one whole year? If the story stayed with you, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories, just write more stories. Till next time, remember this motivation may start the journey, but consistency quietly changes lives.